Hello again, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of the A to Z English podcast. I'm John, and if you've been with us for the past few episodes, you'll know that we're on a mission to help you master English one step at a time. Today's episode builds on what we discussed last time, diving even deeper into how you can take your English skills to new heights. Whether you're looking to improve your speaking, writing, or listening, we've got some practical strategies that will take your learning to the next level.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, and I'm so excited to be back for this episode. Last time, we talked about how to immerse yourself in English, improve your pronunciation, and build vocabulary and context. Today, we're going to explore some more advanced techniques, including how to sound more like a native speaker, the art of thinking in English, and how to use English in real-world scenarios. So, if you're ready to push your English even further, stick with us, because today's episode is packed with valuable insights.
Exactly, Sarah. Let's get right into it. 1. Thinking in English. A key to fluency. One of the biggest challenges advanced learners face is bridging the gap between knowledge and fluency. You know the grammar, you know the vocabulary, but how do you make English feel natural in your mind? The answer lies in thinking in English.
Yes, and this is a big one. If you're constantly translating sentences from your native language into English in your head, it slows you down and makes speaking feel more stressful. But when you train yourself to think directly in English, everything flows more naturally.
Absolutely. So, how can you train yourself to think in English? Start small. Begin by narrating your day in English in your mind. For example, if you're making breakfast, think about the actions in English. I'm boiling water for my tea. Or, I'm spreading butter on my toast. This builds a habit of associating English directly with your thoughts and actions.
That's a great strategy. Another helpful tip is to create mental conversations with yourself. Imagine you're speaking to a friend or giving a presentation in English. What would you say? How would you respond to questions? These little mental exercises can significantly improve your fluency over time because they force your brain to operate in English, not just memorize rules.
And don't be afraid to use English even in informal situations. If you're talking to yourself while cooking or exercising, use English. This continuous exposure in various contexts will help you think more quickly and naturally in the language. 2. Mastering conversational nuances, slang, idioms, and cultural context. Another challenge advanced learners face is mastering conversational nuances. This includes understanding and using slang, idioms, and expressions that are often unique to native speakers.
Exactly, John. Even if you have a solid grasp of grammar and vocabulary, conversations with native speakers can still feel tricky because of these informal elements. Slang, for example, can vary greatly depending on the region, age group, or social context.
Right. A word or phrase might be perfectly understandable in one setting, but mean something completely different in another. So, how can you improve your understanding of these conversational nuances? One effective method is to watch movies or TV shows set in different regions and time periods. You'll pick up on how slang and idiomatic expressions are used in real conversations.
And just like we mentioned in our last episode, you need to be an active listener. When you hear a phrase or slang term you don't understand, don't ignore it. Look it up and try to use it yourself. For example, if you hear someone say, "It's a piece of cake," you should understand that they're not talking about dessert. They mean something is easy.
That's such a good point, Sarah. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're speaking with a native English speaker and they use a phrase you're unfamiliar with, ask them to explain it. Most people will be happy to help. And this way, you're not only improving your vocabulary, but also getting a better sense of how language is used in everyday life. 3. Expanding your skills through creative writing. Now let's talk about another powerful tool for improving your English: creative writing. This might sound intimidating at first, but it's actually one of the best ways to practice using new vocabulary, expressions, and grammar in context.
Definitely. When you write creatively, whether it's a short story, a personal journal, or even a blog, you get the chance to experiment with the language. You can try out different sentence structures, use new words you've learned, and even play with idiomatic expressions. The more you write, the more natural these elements will become.
Absolutely. And here's a tip. Don't worry about making everything perfect. The goal with creative writing is to use the language as much as possible. If you make mistakes, that's okay. You can always go back and edit later. The important thing is to get into the habit of writing regularly. Even 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference in your fluency and confidence.
Another thing to keep in mind is to vary your writing styles. For example, one day you might write a diary entry about your day, and the next, you could write a fictional conversation between two characters. This gives you the chance to use English in different contexts, helping you become more flexible with the language. 4. Leveraging technology for practice, AI and language apps. As we move further into the 21st century, technology has become an indispensable tool for language learners. Today, there are so many apps and platforms that can help you improve your English, and many of them are powered by AI.
Exactly. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Memrise are great for building vocabulary and practicing grammar. But there's even more advanced tech out there now. For example, AI chatbots can simulate real conversations, helping you practice speaking without the pressure of talking to a real person.
Yes, there are also tools like Grammarly that can help you improve your writing by giving real-time feedback on your grammar, punctuation, and style. And as we've mentioned in previous episodes, platforms like HelloTalk and Tandem allow you to connect with native speakers for language exchange.
And don't forget about using voice assistants like Siri or Google Assistant to practice your pronunciation. Try asking them questions or giving commands in English to see how well they understand you. If they struggle to understand your pronunciation, it's a sign that you may need to focus on certain sounds or intonation patterns. 5. Building confidence, the final frontier. The last point we want to cover today is confidence. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not confident in your abilities, you'll hesitate to use the language. And that can hold you back from making real progress.
That's so true, John. Confidence comes from practice, but it also comes from embracing mistakes. The more you use English, the more comfortable you'll become, and the less afraid you'll be of making errors.
Exactly. And remember, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. The key is to view each mistake as a learning opportunity. When you stumble over a word or phrase, don't get discouraged. Take it as a chance to learn something new.
Another great way to build confidence is by setting small, achievable goals. For example, challenge yourself to speak English for 5 minutes a day, or to start a conversation with a native speaker. Over time, these small steps will build up your confidence and help you feel more comfortable using the language in real-world situations.
Conclusion. That brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope these advanced strategies have inspired you to continue pushing your English learning journey forward. Remember, it's all about practice, persistence, and confidence.
Yes, keep challenging yourself, embrace new opportunities to use English, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Language learning is a journey, not a destination.
Thanks for tuning in to the A to Z English podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep learning and keep growing.